All praises, all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Peace and blessing to the elect of Israel who are out there practicing and following the law of liberty. All right, so we're going to continue with second book of Baruch. We're going to get right into it. We got a lot of reading to do. So we're going to start out in chapter 13. And it came to pass after these things that I, Baruch, was standing upon Mount Zion, and lo, a voice came from the height and said unto me, Stand upon thy feet, Baruch, and hear the word of the mighty power, because thou hast been astonished at what has befallen Zion, thou should therefore be assuredly preserved to the consummation of the times, that thou mayest be for a testimony, so that if even those prosperous cities, prosperous cities say, Why hath thy mighty power brought upon us this retribution? Say thou to them, thou and those like thee who shall have seen this evil. This is the evil and the retribution which is coming upon you and upon your people in its destined time, that the nations may be thoroughly smitten, and then they shall be in anguish. And if they say at the time, For how long? Thou wilt say to them, Ye who have drunken the strained wine, drink ye also the dregs. The judgment of the lofty one who have no respect of person. On this account, he has aforetime no mercy on his own sons, but afflicted them as his enemies, because they have sinned. And therefore were they chastened, that they might be sanctified. But now, ye peoples and nations, ye are guilty, because ye have also trodden down the earth, and used the creation unrighteously. For I have always benefited you, and ye have always been ungrateful for the beneficence. Chapter 14. And I answered and said, Lo, thou hast shown me the method of times, and that which shall be altered these things. And thou hast said unto me that the retribution which has been spoken of by thee shall come upon the nations. Now I know that those who have sinned are many, and they have lived in prosperity and departed from the world, but that few nations will be left in those times, to whom those words shall be said which thou didst say. For what advantage is there in this, or what evil worse than what we have seen befall us are we to expect to see? But again I will speak in thy presence. What have they profited who have knowledge before thee, and have not walked in vanity as the rest of the nations, and not have said to the dead, Give us life, but always feared thee, and have not left thy ways? And lo, they have been carried off, nor on their account hast thou had mercy on Zion. And if others did evil, it was due to Zion, that on accounts of the works of those who wrought good works, she should be forgiven, and should not be overwhelmed on account of the works of those who wrought unrighteousness. But who, O Lord, my Lord, will comprehend thy judgment? Or who will search out the profoundness of thy way? Or who would think out the weight of thy path? Or who would be able to think out thy incomprehensible counsel? Or who of those that are born has ever found the beginning or the end of thy wisdom? For we have all been made like a breath. For as a breath ascends involuntarily and again dies, so it is with the nature of men, who depart not according to their own will, but know not what will befall them in the end. For the righteous justly hope for the end, and without fear depart from his habitation, because they had with thee a store of works preserved in treasures. On this account also, these without fear leave this world, and trusting with joy they hope to receive the world which thou hast promised them. But as for us, woe to us, who also are now shamefully entreated, and at the time look forward only to evils. But thou knowest accurately what thou hast done by means of thy servants, for we are not able to understand that which is good, as thou art our creator. But again I will speak in thy presence, O Lord, my Lord, when of old there was no world with its inhabitants. Thou didst devise and speak with a word, and forthwith the works of creation stood before thee. And thou didst say that thou wouldest make for thy world man as the administrator of thy works, that it might be known that he was by no means made on account of the world, but the world on account of him. And now I see that as for the world which was made on account of us, lo, it abides, but we, on account of whom it was made, depart. Chapter 15. And the Lord answered and said unto me, Thou art rightly astonished regarding the departure of men, but thou hast not judged well regarding evil, which befalleth those who sin. And as regards what thou hast said, that the righteous are carried off, and the impious are prospered, and as regards what thou hast said, man knows not thy judgment. On this account hear, and I will speak to thee, and hearken, and I will cause thee to hear my words. Man who not rightly have understood my judgment, unless he has accepted the law, and I have instructed him in understanding. But now, because he's transgressed wittily, yea, just on this ground that he wot thereof, he shall be tormented. And as regards of what thou didst say touching the righteous, that on account of them has this world come, so also again shall that which is to come on their account. For this world is to them a strife and a labor, which much trouble, and that accordingly which is to come a crown with great glory. Chapter 16. And I answered and said, O Lord, my Lord, lo, these years of this time are few and evil, and who is able in his little time to acquire that which is measureless? Chapter 17. And the Lord answered and said unto me, With the most high account is not taken of much time, nor a few years. For what did it profit Adam that he lived 930 years and transgressed that which he was commanded? Therefore the multitude of time that he lived did not profit him, but brought death and cut off the years of those who were born from him. Or wherein did Moses suffer loss, in that he lived only 120 years, inasmuch as he was subject to him who formed him, brought the law to the seed of Jacob, and lighted a lamp for the nation of Israel. Chapter 18. And I answered and said, He that lighted had taken from the light, and there be but few that have imitated him. But those many whom he has lighted have taken from darkness of Adam, and have not rejoiced in the light of the lamp. Chapter 19. And he answered and said unto me, Wherefore at the time he appointed for them a covenant, and said, Behold, I have placed before you life and death. And he called heaven and earth to witness against them. For he knew that his time was but short. But that heaven and earth endured always. But after his death they sinned and transgressed. Though they knew that they had the law reproved them, in the light in which nothing could err. Also the spirits which testified in me. Now regarding everything that is, it is I that judge. But do not thou take counsel in thy soul regarding these things, nor afflict thyself because of those which have been. For now it is the consummation of time that should be considered, whether of business or of prosperity or of shame, and not the beginning thereof. Because if a man be prosperous in his beginning, and shamefully entreated in his old age, he forgets all the prosperity that he had. And again, if a man is shamefully entreated in his beginnings, and at the end is prosperous, he remembered not again his evils, entreatment, and again hearken. Though each one were prospered all the time from the day on which death was decreed against those who transgressed, and in his end was destroyed. In vain would he have been everything. Wow, that's deep. Wow. Chapter 20. Therefore, behold, the days come, and the time should hasten more than the former, and the season shall speed on more than those that are in past. and the years shall pass more quickly than the present years. Ain't that happening now? Therefore I have taken away Zion, that I may the more speedily visit the world in its season. Now therefore hold fast in thy heart everything that I have commanded thee, and seal it in the recesses of thy mind. And then I will show thee the judgment of my might, and my ways which are unsearchable. Go therefore and sanctify thyself 7 days, and eat no bread, nor drink water, nor speak to anyone. And afterwards come to that place, and I will reveal myself to thee, and speak truth things with thee, and I will give thee commandments regarding the method of times, for they are coming, and tarry not. Chapter 21. And I went thence and sat in the valley of Cedron, in a cave of the earth, and I sanctified my soul there, and I ate no bread, and yet I was not hungry, and I drank no water, and yet I thirst not. And I was there till the seventh day, as he had commanded me. And afterwards I came to that place where he had spoken with me. And it came to pass at sunset that my soul took much thought. And I began to speak in the presence of the Mighty One, and said, O thou that hast made the earth, hear me, that hast fixed the firmament by the word, and has made firm the height of the heavens by the Spirit, that has called from the beginning of the world that which did not yet exist, and they obeyed thee. Thou that hast commanded the air by thy nod, and hast seen those things which are to be as those things which thou art doing. Thou that rulest with great thought the hosts that stand before thee, also the countless holy beings, which thou didst make from the beginning of the flame and the fire, which standeth around thy throne. Thou rulest with indignation. To thee only does this belong, that thou do forth with whatever thou doest wish. Who causes the drops of rain to rain by numbers upon the earth, and alone knoweth the consummation of the times before they come. Have respect unto my prayer, for thou alone art able to sustain all who are, and those who have passed away, and those who are to be, those who sin, and those who are righteous, as living and being past finding out. For thou alone dost live immortal, and past finding out, and knowest the numbers of the man, and knowest the number of mankind. And if in time many have sinned, yet others not a few have been righteous. Thou knowest where thou preservest the end of those who have sinned, or the consummation of those who have been righteous. For if there were this life only, which belongeth to all men, nothing could be more bitter than this. That's so true. For what profit is strength that turns to sickness, or fullness of food that turns to famine, or beauty that turns to ugliness? For the nature of man is always changeable. For what we were formerly, now we no longer are. That's true. And what we now are, we should not afterwards remain. For if a consummation have not been prepared for all, in vain would have been their beginning. But regarding everything that comes from thee, do thou inform me. And regarding everything about which I ask thee, do thou enlighten me. How long will that which is corruptible remain? And how long will the time of mortals be prospered? And until what time will those who transgress in the world be polluted with much wickedness? Command therefore in mercy, and accomplish all that thou saidst thou would bring, that thy might may be made known to those who think that thy long suffering is weakness. And show to those who know not that everything that has befallen us in our city until now has been according to thy long suffering of thy power, because on account of thy name thou hast called us a beloved people. He's asking, man, how long, man? How long this going to happen? You know, you said you loved us. Bring to an end, therefore, henceforth mortality, and reprove accordingly the angels of death, and let thy glory appear, and let the might of thy beauty be known, and let Sheol be sealed, so that from the time forward it may not receive the dead, and let the treasures of the souls restore those which are enclosed in them. But there has been many years like those that are desolate from the days of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and all those who are like them, who sleep in the earth, on whose account thou dost say that thou hast created the world, and now quickly show thy glory, and do not defer what has been promised by thee. And when I have completed the words of this prayer, I was greatly weakened. It's a strong prayer. He asking a lot. Chapter 22. And it came to pass after these things that, lo, the heavens were opened, and I saw, and power was given to me. And a voice was heard from on high, and it said unto me, Baruch, Baruch, why art thou troubled? He who travels by a road does not complete it, or who departs by sea, but does not arrive at the port, can he be comforted? Or he who promises to give a present to another, but does not fulfill it, is it not robbery? Or he who sows the earth, but does not reap its fruit in its season, does he not lose everything? Or he who plants a plant, unless it grows till the time suitable to it, does he who planted it expect to receive fruits from it? Or a woman who has conceived, if she bring forth untimely, does she not assuredly slay her infant? Or he who builds a house, if he does not roof it and complete it, can he be called a house? Can it be called a house? Tell me that first. Chapter 23. And I answered and said, Not so, O Lord, my Lord. And he answered and said unto me, Why therefore art thou troubled about that which thou knowest not? And why art thou ill at ease about things in which thou art ignorant? For as thou hast not forgotten the people who are now, and those who have passed away, so remember those who are appointed to come. Because when Adam sinned and death was decreed against those who should be born, then the multitude of those who should be born were numbered. And for that number a place was prepared where the living might dwell and the dead might be guarded. Before therefore the number as said, aforesaid is fulfilled, and the creature will not live again. For my spirit is the creator of life, and Sheol will receive the dead. And again it is given to thee to hear what things are to come after these times. For I truly, my redemption has drawn nigh, and it is not far distance aforetime. Chapter 24. For behold, the days come, and the book should be opened, in which are written the sins of all those who have sinned, and again also the treasures in which the righteous of all those who have been righteous in creation is gathered. For it should come to pass at that time that thou shalt see in the many that are with thee the long suffering of the Most High, which has throughout all generations, who have been long suffering towards all who are born alike, those who sin and those who are righteous. And I have answered and said, But behold, O Lord, no one knows the numbers of those things which are past, nor yet of those things which are to come. For I know indeed that which has befallen us, but what will happen to our enemies, I know not, and when thou wilt visit thy works. Chapter 25. And he answered and said unto me, Thou too should be preserved till that time, till that sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end days. This therefore should be the sign. Okay, get ready to go with it. When a stupor, stupor, shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and they shall fall into many tribulations. And again, when they shall fall into great torments. And it will come to pass, when they say in their thoughts, by reason of their much tribulation, the mighty one doeth no longer remember the earth. Yea, it will come to pass, when they abandon hope, that the time will then awake. Chapter 26. And I answered and said, Will that tribulation, which is to be continued a long time, will that necessity embrace many years? Chapter 27. And he answered and said unto me, Into 12 parts is that time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part, there should be the beginning of commotions. In the second part, slayings of the great ones. In the third part, the fall of many by death. In the fourth part, the sending of the sword. And in the fifth part, famine and the withholding of rain. In the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors, wanting. And in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and attack of the Shedem. And in the ninth part, the fall of the fire. And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression. And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity. And in the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid. For these parts are the time are reserved and shall be mingled, one with another, and the minister one to another. For some shall leave one out some of their own, and receive in his stead from others, and some complete their own, and that of others, so that those may not understand who are upon the earth in those days, that this is the consummation of the times. That's where we at right now. That is where we at. Chapter 28. Nevertheless, whomsoever understandeth shall then be wise, for the measures and reckoning of that time are two parts, a week of 7 weeks. And I answered and said, it is good for a man to come and behold, but it is better that he should not come, lest he fall. But I would say this also, will he who is incorruptible despise those things which are corruptible? And whatsoever befalls in the case of those things which are corruptible, so that he might look only to those things which are not corruptible. But if, O Lord, those things shall assuredly come to pass, which thou hast foretold to me, so do thou show this also unto me, if indeed I have found grace in thy sight. Is it in one place, or in one of the parts of the earth, that those things are come to pass, or will the whole earth experience them? Chapter 29. And he answered and said unto me, whatever will then befall the whole earth. Therefore, all who live will experience them. For at that time, I will protect only those who are found in those selfsame days in this land. In this land. It's the Holy Lands. Let me read that again. For at that time, I will protect only those who are found in those selfsame days in this land. And it shall come to pass, when all is accomplished that was to come to pass in those parts, that the Messiah, Yahushua, shall then begin to be revealed. And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea. Those two great monsters which I created on the 5th day of creation, and shall have kept until that time. And then they shall be for food for all that are left. So they're going to feed us, the righteous. The earth also shall yield its fruit 10,000-fold on each vine. There shall be 1,000 branches, and each branch shall produce 1,000 clusters, and each cluster produce 1,000 grapes, and each grape produce a core of wine. And those who have hungered shall rejoice. Moreover, also, they shall behold marvels every day. Every day it should be marvels. Come on back, Yahweh. Come on back, Yahushua. For wind shall go forth from before me to bring every morning the fragrance of the aromatic fruits. And at the close of the day, clouds distilling the dew of health, clean water. And it shall come to pass at that selfsame time that the treasures of manna shall again descend from on high, and they will eat of it in those days, because these are they who have come to the consummation of time. Chapter 30. And it shall come to pass after those things, when the time of the advent of the Messiah is fulfilled, that he shall return in glory. Then all who have fallen asleep in hope of him shall rise again. Praise Yahweh. And it shall come to pass at that time that the treasures will be opened, in which is preserved the number of the souls of the righteous, and they shall come forth. And a multitude of souls shall be seen together in one assemblage, and of one thought. And the first shall rejoice, and the last shall not be grieved. For they know that the time has come, of which it is said that it is the consummation of time. And the souls of the wicked, when they behold all these things, shall then waste away the more. For they shall know that their torment has come, and their perdition has arrived. They're going to get their punishment. Chapter 31. And it came to pass after these things that I went to the people and said unto them, Assemble unto me all you elders, and I will speak the words unto them. And they all assembled in the valley of Sidron. And I answered and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, and I will speak to thee, and give ear, O seed of Jacob, and I will instruct thee. Forget not Zion, but hold in remembrance the anguish of Jerusalem. For lo, the days come when everything that it shall become the prey of corruption, be as though it had not been. Chapter 32. But as for you, if you prepare your hearts so as to sow in them the fruits of the law, it shall protect you in that time in which the mighty one is to shake the whole creation. Because after a little time, the building of Zion will be shaken, in order that it may be built again. But that building will not remain, but will again after a time be rooted out, and will remain desolate until the time, and afterwards it must be renewed in glory and perfected forevermore. Therefore, we should not be distressed so much over the evil which has now come as over that which is still to be. For there will be a greater trial than these two tribulations, when the mighty one will renew his creation. And now do not draw near to me for a few days, nor seek me until I come to you. And it came to pass, when I had spoken to them all these words, that I, Baruch, went my way. And when the people saw me setting out, they lifted up their voices and lamented and said, Whether departedst thou from us, Baruch, and forsake us as a father who forsaketh his orphan children, and depart from them? Chapter 33. Are these the commandments which thy companion Jeremiah the prophet commanded thee, and said unto thee, Look to this people till I go and make ready the rest of the brethren in Babylon, against whom has gone forth the sentence that they should be led into captivity? And now if thou also forsake us, it were good for us all to die before thee, then that thou shouldest withdraw from us. Chapter 34. And I answered and said unto the people, Far be it from me to forsake you, or to withdraw from you, but I will only go unto the Holy of Holies to inquire of the Mighty One concerning you and the concerning of Zion, if in some respect I should receive more illumination. And after these things I will return to you. Chapter 35. And I, Baruch, went to the holy place and sat down upon the ruins and wept and said, Oh, that my eyes were springs, and my eyelids a fount of tears. For how shall I lament for Zion, and how shall I mourn for Jerusalem? Because in that place where I am now prostrate, of old the high priest offered holy sacrifices, and places thereon an incense of fragrant odors. But now our glory has been made unto dust, and the desire of our soul unto sand. All right, so I'm going to stop right there. I hope this reading was a blessing to you. Like I said, listen to this video a couple times. Man, listen to it, man, and meditate on it. There's a lot of meat in there, man. As always, man, I give praise to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All praises due.